Welcome to the Starcraft editor tutorial videos. In this video, we will be going through the basics of the Starcraft map editor. If you already have experience with this program, I suggest you navigate to the advanced videos now. The interface points of interest. Up here next to File, you find Edit, Layer, Player, Scenario, and Window. Window is merely accessibility, and Edit is manual commands like undo and redo. However, Layer, Player, and Scenario are all very important. Layer controls what you're placing on the map, so terrain, doodads, unit location, fog of war. Terrain and units are always found over on the left sidebar, so you don't need to select it in the layer option very much. But doodad, location, and fog of war you have to manually select from the layer drop-down. Player is where you'll find the selection of the player and which you want ownership of the things you're placing on the map. So if I wanted to place units under player teal, I'd select teal. It's also where you find player settings. Scenario is where you'll find forces, sounds, triggers, mission briefings, unit and upgrade settings, and the map properties. And these are all advanced options, which we'll be covering in later videos. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a new map. So I'm just going to go new. The map size completely depends on what you want in the map. If you want an objective map, you go a small map. If you want a large scale battle, you go a large map. The tile set is the general location of your map. So if you wanted to be set on an ice planet, you go the ice tile set. If you want to be set on a jungle planet, you go a jungle world. Twilight is a dark Protoss tile set. If you don't know what Protoss are, you go play Starcraft now and start watching this. So for this tutorial, I'm just going to go Ash World, which is a lava planet. And my default terrain is going to be magma, which is the same thing as water in other tile sets and space in other ones. It's basically the terrain which units can't walk over and only flying things can go over. I think it's a good place to start off any map. So here's my magma map. To start placing terrain, just use this left sidebar over here. So I'll put in some broken rock and contrast it with some dirt. Looks good. And also you can do it over here with this brush palette. If you ever lose your brush palette, just Control B to bring it back. Yep. Getting around your map is pretty simple. You just left click on the minimap and you go to where you want to be. Or you can use the arrow keys, but that's very slow and four-dimensional. To example doodads, I've created a very simple multi-level area of the map. Now to start placing doodads, I just change the layer to doodad over here, or you can press Control D. This will bring up the doodad palette, but if you ever lose it, Control P will bring it back. Now the important thing to know about doodads is you can only place doodads of the terrain type on that terrain type. So I can't put dirt doodads on whatever this is, or on the high ground even though it's almost the same. And then there's the other terrain type, which is cliff here. Now in the cliff terrain type, you'll notice ramps, and ramps are very, very important, so units can get from one level to another. Ramps can only be placed at certain areas at these two angles here, which is a big problem for some maps because it confines a lot of places, as you'll find out when you're making a map. So you may want to take this into consideration when you are making a map. And while we're here, it's a good time to talk about selecting things. So if I press escape, it takes us to the selection. Now this depends on what layer you're in, so if I could do the same thing for selecting units, but for just doing it for doodads, I press escape, and now I can bring a box and select multiple doodads and delete them that way. And if they had properties like units, you could also select them like that and then double click on them. So if I go right click, also deselects. Select it, and then if I wanted properties, I double click on it if it was a unit. So now our map has terrain and doodads. We want to put some units in. But before you go rushing in and start pasting, we go up into player settings. So say I want my red player to be Protoss, and I want my teal to be Terran. So to start placing units, just click on the left sidebar over here. I'll put in some zealots for red player, like that. Or you can use your brush palette and go to ground units, so I could put in zealots that way as well. Over here you just find all the unit types, air units, ground units. To change the player you're placing units as, you can also press the corresponding number. So I want to start placing player 3 teal stuff, I just press 3 and it switches to teal. There's also two other unit types that you want to be placing, and they're the neutral units, the critters, and these guys will just wander your map aimlessly to provide comic relief, or you could possibly make them in a cage so they're animals kind of thing, and resources which will be mined by players and used in the game. If you haven't played the game yet, I suggest you go play it so you understand what's happening here. And that about concludes the basic tutorial of Starcraft 1 Editor. Once you finish this, if you didn't understand it, watch it again. If you didn't understand it again, go read some tutorials. If you fully understand it, then go on to the advanced videos and learn about triggers, locations, editing unit properties, and many more wondrous things. Thank you.